John Carter lived a simple life on the frontier colony of Arden. He worked as a security officer at the Habitat Dome, where humans and visitors from other worlds traded goods and shared ideas. Each morning, he rose before sunrise and walked the narrow corridors to check the air filters. He did it without complaint. It was part of his duty. After his rounds, he drank a cup of strong coffee in the mess hall. The steam rose in thin clouds before his face. He watched the horizon glow with the early light of Arden's twin suns. Everything seemed ordinary. He greeted the vendors by name. He helped the mechanics unload crates of supplies. He smiled at the children who ran between the metal stalls. He often saw his neighbor, Lily Hart, in the same hall. Lily worked in the hydroponics bay. She tended to rows of green plants that grew under soft lights. John admired her calm focus. She had warm brown eyes and a kind way of speaking. They shared quick greetings and small jokes about the strange food shipments that arrived from Earth. Lily once brought him a sample of a bright yellow fruit called a solar berry. He still had the taste of its sweet juice on his lips. Despite the calm, John felt a slight unease in his mind. He noticed odd moments that seemed to slip by too fast. Once, while he guarded the transport dock at night, he sensed another presence. Behind him in the dark corridor. He spun around, but no one was there. His pulse raced. He checked his scanner. It showed no life readings. He shook his head and resumed his watch. He told himself it was just fatigue. Another time, at the central power converters, a surge of energy threatened to overload the system. John rushed to the control panel and shut down the main valve. The lights flickered and alarms blared. Within seconds, the machinery would have exploded. He reset the valve and the alarms fell silent. He ran the diagnostics. They showed an unusual spike in geothermal pressure, but it did not match the readings from the probe in the deep vents. John reported it as a sensor error later in his quarters. He found the panel next to his bed unlocked. He always kept it locked. Inside was a small toolkit for repairs. He frowned. He did not recall leaving it open. The toolkit contained tools he had never used. He closed the door and locked it again. He decided to inspect the logs of his shift. He spent hours scanning through security footage. Nothing proved someone tampered with his room. Exhaustion took hold and he finally went to sleep. On off days, John walked the dusty trails around the colony with Lily. They climbed small hills to watch the twin suns setting together. Some evenings they talked about places beyond human space. Lily dreamed of visiting Earth one day. John said he would show her the forests of North America. They shared their hopes in low voices so others would not overhear. They enjoyed the gentle breeze that smelled of wildflowers and new metal. Strange signals began to appear on the colony's sensors. The communications officers dismissed them as interference from solar flares. They showed brief bursts of data, patterns too complex for random noise. John asked his friend Ajay in the Combs Bay to let him see the raw data. Ajay shrugged and shared it. John sat for long minutes looking at the flickering waves. He thought. He saw sequences that resembled letters. He noted the times of each spike. He plotted them by hand on scrap paper. The pattern repeated every 3 hours. He told Ajay about it. Ajay laughed and said it was likely a glitch in the array. Over the next weeks, John continued his routine but grew more aware of the hidden help that seemed to follow him. Each time he walked to the hydroponics bay, he found a small container of fresh water left beside the door. He did not recall placing it there. The tools he needed for repairs appeared on his workbench without explanation. Once, when a loose beam threatened to collapse in the tunnel, John bent to clear the debris. A soft hum filled the air, and the beam shifted back into its original position. He saw the faint outline of a glowing figure, but when he looked again, it was gone. John tried to speak with Lily about these things. He shared his suspicion that someone was watching over him. Lily listened without judgment. She agreed it was strange, but suggested they focus on the daily tasks. They had to keep the colony safe. John nodded, but the questions lingered. The colony council held a meeting to discuss the rising threat of the neighboring faction known as the Korath. Scouts had reported small battles on a distant world. The Korath aimed to expand their empire. The colonists grew tense. John and Lily sat among the crowd in the dome's central chamber. The council leader spoke of strengthening defenses, building more turrets, and recruiting volunteers. John raised his hand and asked if they had evidence the Korath would target. Arden, the leader, admitted they had no direct proof. After the meeting, John walked alone through the dark corridors. He whispered to the empty air, asking for a sign of truth. Suddenly, a soft light appeared at the end of the hall. He walked toward it and saw a figure in pale blue skin and silver clothing. The figure held a hand up, palm facing John in a peaceful gesture. John froze. He watched as the figure faded into the shadows. His heart pounded. He hurried back to his quarters, thinking of the glowing form. John slept little that night. He dreamed of alien skies filled with unfamiliar stars. He felt a warmth beside him, as though someone watched over his sleep. He woke at dawn to the sound of a knock on his door. He opened it to find a small package on the floor. Inside was a note in a smooth, flowing script he did not recognize. It read, "I have always been here. You are not alone. Do not fear what you do not know." John held the note in his hand. He felt a strange mix of fear and comfort. He looked at the walls of his room, half expecting to see the figure again. He closed the door and locked it. He wondered who the alien woman was and why she protected him. He decided to find answers no matter the cost. John Carter felt restless in the hours after dawn. The strange note weighed on his thoughts. He tried to focus on his work, but his mind kept returning to the glowing figure and the words she wrote. He moved through his shift with mechanical precision, checking cameras and patrolling corridors. Each face he passed blurred into one another. He wished for answers. Later that day, he found Lily Hart in the hydroponics bay. She was pruning the green leaves that glowed under soft lights. John held the note out to her. "I found this on my floor this morning," he said in a low voice. "Do you think someone is playing a prank?" Lily wiped her hands on her apron and read the note. Her brow furrowed. "This feels more serious than a joke," she said. "The handwriting is not like anyone I know." She looked around the quiet bay. "I saw you near the door last night. Did you hear anything?" John shook his head. "Only the normal of the lights." He stepped closer to the rows of plants. "I barely sleep these days. I keep expecting something." He paused. "I feel watched, not by people here, by someone else." Lily studied him. "What do you want to do?" she asked. "We could set up more cameras, review logs." She gestured to the viewer on a nearby terminal. "I can help you check the sensor data," John nodded. "Thank you. I'd like that." Together, they walked to the terminal at the end of the bay. They sat side by side as Lily typed commands. The screen filled with lines of code and waveform graphs. John recognized the pattern he saw before, silent gaps punctuated by sudden spikes. "These spikes are the strange signals I mentioned," John said. "They repeat every 3 hours," he pointed to the graph. "But there are other moments. Look at this timestamp." He highlighted a spike in the data from the night before. Lily clicked the marker. The screen showed a log entry. "Motion detected in corridor 3, power drain in lower maintenance grid." "I don't see an external cause," she said. "No docking vessels." "No sensor errors?" She leaned back. "Whoever is there moves." Without a trace, for hours they scoured the data. They compared logs from other days. They found more anomalies, doors that unlocked on their own, circuit boards that received power surges, then reset, unauthorized access attempts that vanished in the audit trail. Each event pointed to a guardian, someone or something protecting John. As night fell, the colony lights dimmed. John and Lily stood among the glowing plants, the only sound the soft dripping of water. A gentle breeze blew from the ventilation vents. John closed his eyes. He felt a presence behind him, a warmth in the air. He turned but saw nothing. Lily observed him. "You feel it too?" she whispered. John nodded. "Yes, I think she is close." He looked up at the curved glass ceiling, showing the dark sky scattered with stars. "I want to meet her. I want to know why she stays in the shadows." Lily hesitated. "It could be dangerous." "Maybe she has a reason to remain hidden," She reached out and touched his arm. Be careful. John placed a hand over hers. We face danger every day. I need answers. He straightened. Let's set a trap. They left the hydroponics bay and returned to John's quarters. John cleared his small living space and moved his bed to one side. He pulled a folding table into the middle of the room. On it, he placed a motion sensor, a portable camera, and a small power source. He connected the sensor and camera to his datapad. He set the device to record for 2 hours, the period when the next spike would appear. Lily leaned against the wall. If she comes, we will see her, she said quietly. John checked the sensor's battery. Let's also leave a note. Maybe she will read it. He found a blank piece of paper and wrote, Whoever watches over me, please show yourself. I only want to thank you. He folded the note and placed it next to the motion sensor. Lily watched as John secured the camera to face the note. It's ready, she said. John sat on the edge of his bed. The note lay still under the camera's lens. We wait. They retired to a corner of the room. John held Lily's hand. They spoke in low voices about the colony's work and their hopes for the future. Lily said she dreamt of peaceful worlds where humans and aliens lived together in trust. John smiled and promised they would reach that day. After what felt like minutes but was hours, the room grew colder. The lights in the hallway dimmed. The power drain pinged on the datapad. The motion sensor activated and the camera began recording. John and Lily held their breath. A soft glow filled the room. Through the half-open door stepped a tall figure in pale blue skin. Her silver attire shimmered. She moved with grace. The glow pulsed gently as she approached the note. John and Lily gasped. I did not wish to frighten you, she said in a gentle voice. Her tone was calm, almost musical. I have protected you for many years. She stepped into the room fully. Her eyes met John's. He saw kindness and regret in them. John stood slowly. Who are you? He asked, his voice trembling. Her glow dimmed to a soft light. I am IR. I come from a world beyond the outer rim. My people watch for dangers to other races. I sense threats to your life. I acted without your knowledge because I did not want to alarm you. She looked at Lily. And I have watched over both of you. Lily stepped forward. Why protect him? Why now reveal yourself? IR paused. John's life is key to my people's work. He carries a gene from the ancient guardians. That gene can activate technology that lies buried under your colony. A hidden weapon that can change the balance of power. John felt confusion. A gene? Buried weapon? I do not understand. I motioned to the note on the table, you asked to know, so I came. There is much I must explain. She raised a hand and the room's lights brightened briefly. The air around her shimmered. John took a step closer. Will you tell us everything? I nodded. I will answer your questions. But first, know that I come as a friend. My people do not wish to harm humans, only to keep the galaxy safe. She looked at Lily. Will you trust me? Lily exchanged a glance with John. He saw determination in her eyes. She nodded slowly. We will listen. Ira lowered her hand. Then sit, I will speak. She turned away and the glow faded. She stood like a normal person, tall and slender. John and Lily sat at the table. Ira explained her mission and what she knew of the gene. She told them of the hidden chamber under the colony. She warned of dangers to come. John and Lily listened. They realized their lives had changed forever. The guardian in the dark was now a visitor in their home. Questions filled their minds and Ira prepared to answer them. The long night stretched ahead, and they remained together in that small room, ready to face the truth. John Carter felt his heart pound as Ira stood before him and Lily in the dim light of his quarters. The soft glow that had once lit the room now rested only in her eyes. She looked calm but alert. John's mind raced with questions he did not yet know how to ask. Lily took a careful step forward. She kept her voice steady. Thank you for coming. We have so many questions. She glanced at John. We want to understand why you stayed hidden. Ira nodded slowly. I will answer what I can. She reached out a hand but kept it low and open. First, Know that I acted out of respect for your freedom. I did not want to interfere in your life more than necessary." She paused, as if choosing her words. There are dangers in knowing too much too soon. John swallowed hard. He tried to steady his voice. "But I needed to know. I needed to trust you." He looked into Ira's eyes. "Why did you wait until now?" Ira looked down for a moment. "I have watched you since you were a child. Not you personally, but your people. My orders were to observe, to protect when a threat became immediate. I sensed that the time was coming when I must speak. The meteor shower last night created an opening in the shields around this habitat. I used that moment to appear." Lily frowned. "So you have watched us, the whole colony?" "Not the whole colony," Ayar replied. "Only the areas around John. His bloodline carries a marker and echo of my people's legacy. It made him a target for an enemy I cannot show fully yet." She looked back at John. "You asked why I revealed myself. The answer is simple. You asked. I honor my own word." John felt a mix of relief and anger. "You honored a word I did not agree to." He rubbed his temples. "Why involve me at all? I had a life here." Ira's glow brightened for a moment. "Your life matters. Your choices matter. So long as I acted alone, you had no choice. Now that you know, you must choose your own path?" John stared. He did not know what to say. Lily placed a hand on his shoulder. Her calm presence gave him strength. "We choose?" she said softly. "We want to learn. Tell us what is happening." Ira nodded. Her shoulders relaxed. She moved to the small table where the note still lay. She traced the letters with her finger. "These words first reached me in the mind. I heard your question clearly. I came to answer. I hope my arrival did not harm your trust." John shook his head. "No, I understand more now. Please continue." Ira took a breath. "There is an ancient chamber buried under this colony. It holds technology created by my people long ago. That technology can heal worlds, but it can also destroy them if it falls into the wrong hands. The insurgents called the Korath discovered traces of the marker in human worlds. They seek the chamber to gain power." Lily's eyes widened. "So that is why you protected John. They tried to find him first." Ira's expression turned grave. "Yes, they sent agents to probe the corridors to follow his trail. When they threatened you, I acted. I diverted shuttles, disabled trackers, moved hazards out of your path." John realized the broken machinery in the maintenance tunnels. The collapsed beams, the strange storms in the power converters, all had been interference. But he also thought of the kindness water containers, tools, and the moment when the corridor light saved him. Tears filled his eyes. "I am sorry I did not tell you sooner," Ayara said quietly. "I believe that knowledge would bring you danger sooner than necessary." John took a deep breath. He wiped his eyes. "I am angry at your silence, but I see why you did it. You saved my life more times than I can count." Ayara stepped closer. "I did what I was trained to do, protect life. Your people are worthy of protection, but some cannot see that." Lily shifted her gaze between them. "What happens next?" Ayara looked toward the ceiling. "We must find the chamber before the Korath do. Once we locate it, we can lock it or remove its power. But I cannot do it alone. The colony must help." She turned to John. "You must lead. Your people trust you." John swallowed. The weight of the task pressed on him. "I have led patrols before. But this is different. This decides the fate of many worlds." Ayara nodded. "I will guide you every step. But your voice must carry weight with the council. They must believe you." Lily held John's other hand. "We stand together. You saved him. Now we will stand with you." She looked at Ayara. "We trust you." Ira's eyes softened. "Thank you. Your trust honors me." A soft alarm chimed on John's datapad. The colony's security network signaled low-level disturbances in the maintenance tunnels, hints of unauthorized power use. John stood. "We must begin." "Can you trace the source?" Ayara touched a spot on her wrist where a faint light glowed. She placed her palm on the datapad screen. It lit up with readings unfamiliar to John's eyes. Strange symbols and waveforms. She guided John's hand to a symbol that pulsed softly. This way, she whispered. John picked up his Cums pistol. Lily grabbed a small toolkit. Ira led, moving with quiet steps. They left the quarters and slipped into the main corridor. The hallway lights cast long shadows. John felt a surge of adrenaline. They reached the maintenance tunnel entrance. The door guard recognized John's clearance and opened with a hiss. Inside, the tunnel walls glowed faintly with bioluminescent moss. Pipes and vents ran along the ceiling. Ira placed her hand on a panel. It slid aside to reveal a narrow shaft. Dirt and rock lay piled at the bottom. Here, Aya said, the energy signature is strong. She pulled a small device from her sleeve that looked like a wand. She waved it over the pile. The device beeped and emitted a soft light. These rocks cover a hidden entrance. John knelt and brushed away dust. His fingers touched a smooth metal surface with strange carvings. He pressed a symbol. A soft click and a panel swung inward to reveal a staircase descending into darkness. Lily switched on her flashlight. Its beam cut through the gloom. This looks old, she shivered. How far down do we go? Aya smiled. Not far, enough to reach the chamber. She held out a hand to John. Shall we? John nodded. He took her hand. Lily followed close behind. They stepped onto the stairs, feeling the weight of their purpose. Behind them, the tunnel sealed automatically. A fine mist swirled at their feet. John felt a sense of destiny. The alien envoy had brought him here, not just to protect him, but to choose him for a mission that would shape the future. As they descended, John glanced at IR and Lily. He realized that his life had changed beyond measure. The hidden guardian was now a companion. The chamber awaited, and the fate of the colony hung in the balance. The steps ended at a wide door etched with glowing runes. John took a breath. Lily placed a hand on his shoulder. Ira raised her hand and pressed it to the runes. The door slid open with a hiss. Beyond lay a vast hall filled with strange machines and pulsing lights. John stared in wonder. So this was the place his life was bound to. He stepped forward. Together they entered the chamber and sealed the door behind them as the long night of discovery began. Ira led John and Lily through the hidden hall. The walls glowed soft blue. Strange machines stood along the sides. They looked like tall pillars with moving parts. I touched one and the lights brightened. John saw symbols he did not recognize. I am glad you are here, Ira said. I cannot face this alone. Lily looked at the machines. She reached out and brushed her hand over a smooth surface. A hum ran through the floor. John asked Ira why the Korath wanted this place. Ira's face grew serious. My people made these machines. Long ago, they can heal planets. They can also make weapons. The Korath want to use that power to conquer worlds. Lily frowned. That is terrible. John squeezed her hand. They moved deeper into the chamber. The floor sloped down. The air smelled faintly of ozone. Ira pointed at a large door at the end of the hall. That is the War Council room. We must reach it and seal it. Otherwise, the Korath will find it first. John nodded. They walked until they reached the door. It was carved with scenes of peace and battle. Ira placed her hand on the center symbol. The door slid open. Inside the room, a large table rose from the floor. At each end, a chair with tall back and armrests sat waiting. Ira motioned to the table. This is where the war plan was drawn. The energies that flow here can show the future. It can show the coming war. Lily gasped. Show the future? John felt a chill. Ira stood at the table. She placed both hands on its surface. The table glowed. Light spread into the room before them. The air shimmered. Images formed. John saw a fleet of ships. They were sleek and dark. They bore the Korath symbol. He saw beams of light strike a colony. He saw people running in fear. Lily covered her mouth. John watched the images. Then he saw Ira's homeworld under attack. It burned in red light. He saw Ira's people fall. Ira said in a low voice, This is what the Korath will do. They will destroy all they find. They seek this power to win the war. John felt anger rise. We must stop them, he said. I will guide you, Ira replied. The table Can also link to the defense sequence. Lily looked confused. Defense sequence? IR nodded. The pillar machines hold energy cores. They feed the defenses around this chamber. We can reroute power to the colony shields, John said. How? IRA pointed at 4 pillars. Each pillar had a symbol. Pick any pillar and press your palm on it. The energy will flow through you and into the shields. You and Lily must work together. Lily stepped forward. She placed her hand on one pillar. She felt a pulse. Light ran up her arm. Her eyes glowed for a moment. John touched the pillar next to hers. His pulse matched hers. IR stood behind them. The glowing runes on the pillars lit up. Energy flowed through the hall. John felt warm strength fill him. Through the shimmer of the table, John saw the colony shields flicker. Light streams reached across space. Lily whispered, I feel it. The shields grow stronger. John closed his eyes. He felt Ira's presence steady him. After a moment, the glow died down. The pillars powered off. John and Lily stepped back. The room returned to normal. Lily looked at John. That was incredible. IR nodded. The chamber defenses are now linked to the colony. The Korath cannot break through easily. John asked, what about the weapon machines? Ira's face turned serious. That is... Next, we must hide the weapon cores. Lily asked, can we remove them? Ira shook her head. They are bound to this planet. But we can seal them away. She moved to a panel on the wall. She pressed a symbol. A secret door slid open. Behind it lay 3 pedestals. On each stood a glowing crystal. IR explained, these are the weapon cores. They hold destructive energy. We will bury them deep. But first we must cloak them. John asked, how? Ira pressed her hand on the first core. The light faded. Then it glowed pale. She repeated for the other 2. The room dimmed. Life returns to the cores over time, Ira said. The cloak makes them invisible to scanners. Only my people can see them. Lily said, but the Korath have spies. IR smiled sadly. The cloak works on all tech. They will pass by without knowing. John felt hope. Then he asked, what if they attack now? I turned. Outside the door, the air shimmered. John heard alarms in his mind. We have a warning, IR said. The Korath fleet is near. They have sent a scout ship. Lily gripped John's arm. They must hurry. IR led them back to the War Council room. She touched the table. Images shifted. She saw a small ship near the colony. That is a probe, she said. It will scan the chamber. John said, can we stop it? IR nodded. Stand here. She pointed to a control panel. John and Lily moved to the panel. She showed them 3 buttons. Press red, then green, then blue, she said. The ship's sensors will fail. Lily pressed the buttons. Alarms rang in the chamber. John joined in. A wave of darkness pulsed from the walls. John felt the lights in the room dim. The shimmer of energy faded. IR said, go now. The cloak is complete. They ran back up the stairs. Behind them the hidden chamber sealed. John took a deep breath. Lily looked at him with bright eyes. We did it, she said. John nodded. IR appeared behind them. You have done well. I will return to patrol the edges of space, IRA said. John felt sadness. Will I see you again? He asked. I will come when you call, IR said. She placed a hand on John's shoulder. John felt warm again. Thank you, he said. IRA nodded. Then she faded. Lily and John stood alone in the dark tunnel. John turned to Lily. That was the hidden war. Lily took his hand. We know the truth now. They walked back to the colony in silence. The future was uncertain, but they faced it together. John Carter walked through the council chamber with IRA and Lily close behind. The walls of the dome were clear, showing the dusty red plains beyond. Colonists filled the seats. Some faces showed fear, others skepticism. John felt his heart beat. Faster, he stood and faced the council leader, Mayor Adina Fry. Mayor Fry spoke first. Security Officer Carter, what evidence do you have of a threat? Our sensors show nothing. John held Ira's report on a datapad. He tapped the screen. Last night, an unmanned Korath scout ship scanned our facility. It responded to signal defenses we did not authorize. I have logs showing interference. In our shield grid, We found cloaked devices buried under the maintenance tunnel. He passed the datapad to the council. The leaders studied the readings. Wavelengths and energy spikes marked in red. Some council members whispered. Lily stepped forward. My sensors and hydroponics recorded drops in nutrient flow, unexplained power drains. We traced the source to 3 buried cores, and I deactivated them. A council member named Torrin Reed frowned. You expect us to believe an alien envoy? Helped you? Prove she exists. I will demonstrate, Ira said. She stepped onto the platform. Her pale blue skin glowed softly in the chamber light. Gasps filled the dome. She spread her hands and focused on a column of light overhead. A holomap of the colony appeared in midair. Everyone saw the buried chambers and the cloaked cores marked by white circles. The hololinks traced corridors and power lines. The room fell silent. Mayor Fry stared at IRA. This is real. John nodded. The Korath seek that chamber's energy. They will strike soon. If we do not prepare, they will destroy our colony. Another council member, Belencho, spoke. What do you suggest? IR answered. We must strengthen our defenses and train willing volunteers. I will teach colonists to use portable versions of our shield technology. I will also help set traps in the tunnel entrances. Mayor Fry looked at the council. Some nodded in agreement. Torrin Reed still hesitated. He said, It feels like too much upheaval, supplies and labor diverted from farms and factories. Lily replied, What use are farms if we are gone? John added, We face a war, we must act. At last, Mayor Fry raised her hand. All those in favor of authorizing defense measures and training, please indicate. Hands rose. The vote passed. After the meeting, colonists gathered in the training yard under the open sky. Ira stood on a raised platform with John and Lily beside her. Volunteers wore light armor and carried standard rifles. IR began the lesson. Focus on the device in your palm. She handed each volunteer a small sphere that glowed softly. This is a shield cell. Hold it and picture the energy extending around you. She demonstrated, pressing the sphere against her chest. A blue field formed around her. John and Lily watched as the volunteers tried. Some struggled. John stepped forward to help. He placed a hand on a volunteer's shoulder. Imagine a bubble of light that pushes danger away. The volunteer's eyes widened as her sphere glowed. Lily worked with another group. She spoke calmly. The shield cell responds to your will. Trust it. She clapped her hands and the volunteer's shield expanded. IA continued. Now we train in pairs. One shields, one observes, switch roles quickly. She signaled 2 fighters. To spar, energy fields flickered as they moved. John observed closely. When a fighter lost focus, their shield flickered and they stumbled. John guided them. Breath steady, hold your center. Lily helped another pair. She encouraged them. Trust each other, work in sync. After hours of training under Ira's watchful eye, volunteers gained confidence. Sweat and dust covered their faces, but they smiled at one another. A siren sounded. The colony's sensor grid reported unidentified ships on the horizon. The sky glowed with distant lights. II said, The Korath fleet approaches. John felt a surge of adrenaline. Everyone to positions. Defend the perimeter. Lily grabbed a communicator. Coordinate with the turret teams. We need to focus on their lid vessels. Colonists ran to defensive positions. Portable shield teams formed lines on the ridge above the habitat domes. Turret crews took stations behind reinforced walls. John joined a squad and raised his hand. He held the shield cell against his chest. It glowed. IR stood beside the main control console. She spoke to Lily. I will activate the chamber's long-range defense. It will only hold for a few minutes. Lily nodded. I will send the signal. Throughout the colony, shields on the ridge pulsed into life. Iridescent walls shimmered in lines. Below, turret fire tracked moving lights in the sky. John aimed his rifle at a descending scout ship. It dodged the turret fire with strange maneuvers. He felt his shield cell flare as he fired. The bullet struck the ship. It exploded against a shield matrix. Debris fell away. Lily spoke over the comms. Defense relay online. The chamber energy is flowing. Hold the line. John saw the shield walls stretch across the ridge, blocking incoming fire from the alien vessels. The colonists cheered as beams of light deflected off their guards. Ira's voice crackled. The chamber defense will last 1 minute. After that, the shields fade. Prepare for boarding actions. John yelled to his team, "Get ready. When they come, push them back. Stick to small groups. Avoid large fires." Volunteers lined up in squads of 4, each held a shield cell. When boarding pods dropped to the ground, squads stood firm. John's squad advanced slowly, shields out front. The Korath fighters in dark armor emerged and ran toward the line. One fighter charged John's shield. Its energy dampened the blow. John swung his rifle, but knocking his foe backward. Another Korath tried to flank. John stepped aside and fired. Lily and the other squad members covered him. Turret fire and energy beams lit the field. Colonists fought bravely. Some fell. John saw one of his trainees collapse. He dropped his shield cell and ran to help. He knelt beside her, pressing his hands over her wound. The shield cell glowed around them, dulling the pain until medics arrived. John's breathing was heavy. He stood and rejoined his squad. They pushed forward when the Korath retreated. On the ridge, turret teams cheered as ships broke formation and fled the atmosphere. Thousands of stars faded into the black sky. Ira's voice came over the comms. The fleet withdraws. The battle is won. You have done well. John looked at Lily. Her face was streaked with sweat. She smiled. We did it. John nodded, relief flooding him. They stood among the colonists, battered but victorious. Ira's presence faded in his mind, but her guidance remained. As the dust settled, Mayor Fry appeared on a raised platform. She raised her hand for silence. Today we faced a threat we never saw coming. Thanks to Captain Carter, Lieutenant Hart, and Envoy Aya, we stand alive. We will rebuild and welcome our ally to protect our future. Cheers rose from the crowd. John and Lily returned the cheers, but John's thoughts were on the stars. Ira's gift had shown them new strength. After the celebration, John and Lily walked to the edge of the ridge. They watched the horizon. The colony lights glowed behind them. Lily took John's hand. We saved our home, she smiled. John looked at her and nodded. It was not over, he thought. The Korath would return, but now they were ready, and they faced the future together. John Carter felt the ground shake beneath his boots as the last Korath fighter retreated. He stood at the ridge with Lily Hart beside him, watching the dark shapes of enemy ships dissolve into the sky. The colony's defenses glowed softly behind them, tired but unbroken. The colonists cheered. Aya appeared beside John, her pale blue skin luminous in the morning light. She carried a small device that looked like a crystal sphere. The enemy mothership has been disabled, she said softly. Its engines are offline. It will drift until help arrives. John nodded, relief flooding him. He turned to Lily and saw her eyes shining. After the battle, colonists worked to repair the damage. John and Lily walked through the broken barricades and spent energy cells. They offered water and comfort to those who were hurt. Many volunteers returned to their families, hugging children and spouses. The sense of community filled the air even as the Sunrose hired Mayor Adina Fry stood on a platform near the command center. She tapped a communicator. Attention all. Hands, the colony stands safe. We owe our lives to John Carter, Lily Hart, and Envoy IRA. We will honor them and rebuild together. The colonists broke into applause, their voices echoing in the dome. John felt Ira's presence beside him. He looked at her and asked, What now? Ira studied the horizon. The Korath retreat for now. Their fleet will scatter. But this victory brought attention from other worlds. We must welcome allies and forge new bonds. Lily added, The alliance you mentioned. Will you bring them here? Ayad nodded. I will send a message to our homeworld and to other worlds in the quadrant. They will come to help and learn. Your colony will join a council of peaceful planets. Mayor. Fry approached them. She offered her hand to John. You saved us. Thank you, She then nodded to Lily and IR. And you both. This colony will never forget. John shook her hand and introduced Lily and IR. The crowd thinned. John, Lily, and IR stepped away to the edge of the ridge. John looked at the red dust swirling around their boots. He said, "We have a long road ahead, rebuilding, planning." Lily squeezed his hand. "But we are not alone anymore." She looked at IR. "What will you do when the Alliance arrives?" IR smiled. "I will help them understand human ways. I will teach you more about my people. And I will protect this colony when you need me. We are partners now." John felt hope bloom in his chest. He remembered his old life of routine and simple tasks. That life was gone. In its place was something new, a future shared with friends from distant worlds. That evening, the three sat by the training yard. Volunteers practiced with shield cells under glowing lights. The air smelled of ozone and fresh metal. John took a deep breath and said, "I want to thank you properly, IR. I have nothing to give you that can repay your help." Ira's eyes softened. "Your trust is enough." She reached into a pouch at her waist and pulled out a small sphere that pulsed with gentle light. "This is a gift from my people." She handed it to John. "It will help you communicate with us. Hold it and speak. It carries our words across space." John accepted the sphere with both hands. It felt warm. He pressed it to his chest and said, "Thank you, The sphere glowed brighter for a moment and hummed softly. John heard a distant echo of voices welcoming him. Lily watched with wonder. Later that night, John returned to his quarters. He placed the sphere on his table. He thought of his life before Arden. He wondered if he would ever see Earth. Lily visited him, and they sat by the window overlooking the stars. She rested her head on his shoulder. "Do you miss Earth?" she asked. John nodded. "Sometimes I think of forests and oceans, but now I think of stars and new worlds." He pointed to a bright dot in the sky. "See that star? One day I will fly there." "With you?" Lily smiled. "I will be at your side." She closed her eyes and imagined new adventures. The next morning, the envoy ships arrived. Sleek vessels of white and silver landed in the large clearing beyond the ridge. Colonists gathered to greet them. Ira led several envoys off their ships. They walked among the humans, studying their faces. One envoy, taller and dressed in a cloak of silver patterns, approached John and Lily. He introduced himself as Saren Thal. He bowed gracefully and said in a soft voice, "On behalf of the Alliance, I thank you for your courage." "We come as friends." Lily stepped forward. "Welcome to Arden." "We are honored." She held out her hand. Saren took it gently. Aya explained to Saren, "John and Lily led the defense. They show the heart of your new allies." Saren nodded and smiled. Colonists shared food and stories with the envoys. They learned of other worlds and traded ideas. John watched as children laughed with alien visitors, playing games none had known before. The air filled with hope. After the welcome ceremony, Saren asked John to join the council. John hesitated. He thought of his home on Arden. He realized his life had changed. He no longer belonged only to this colony. II nudged him. "This is your next path. You can help guide peace among worlds." She looked at Lily. "And you too, Lily. Your skills in biology and diplomacy will help many." John looked around at the smiling faces. He felt fear and excitement. He turned to Saren and said, "I accept." Baby cheers rose among the envoys. Lily stood beside him and whispered, "We go together." John squeezed her hand and nodded. The envoy ships prepared to depart. They invited John and Lily aboard. Before they left, Mayor Fry pressed a medal into John's hand and a badge into Lily's. "For service to Arden?" she said. John saluted and then embraced Lily. They walked up the ramp together. Ira stood at the bottom, watching them go. John looked back and waved. Ira raised her hand in a peaceful gesture. As the hatch closed, John felt a rush of air. The ship lifted and soared toward the sky. He peered out the window at the colony growing small below. Lily put an arm around his shoulder. They both gazed at the horizon, where the stars beckoned. John thought of the alien woman who had protected him, who had asked if he loved her and waited for an answer. He realized he did love her. He whispered, "Thank you, for everything." The ship entered hyperspace and stars stretched into lines of light. Together, John and Lily began their next journey. They held hands and faced the wide galaxy, ready for the adventures to come.